and a happy spiritual New Year. Om Agyanatimarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshmanatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Samvedantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapat Kamalo Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shijivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishavitam Sha. Everyone. Hey Krishna Karanas Gopesha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kansha Gorange Vrishabhanu Sudadevi Pranama Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming this evening. In the Shema Bhagavatam, there is a verse, Rajubi Savasankyata. So this means numerically in strength. There are more living entities than there are particles of dust. So let's put this in perspective. You go to the desert, and are you able to count the particles of dust? You have a hard time. But there are more living entities, jivas, there are more living entities than there are particles of dust. And very few of those living entities take birth as human beings. Extremely few. And once you've taken birth as a human being, very few are really spiritually inclined. There may be some concept of religion, Christianity, Islam. I think it was just yesterday Pope Benedict XVI left. I don't know where he left for, but he passed away. But from our perspective, he wasn't actually following strict principles. But from the point of view of materialists, he was considered a holy man, the Pope. So we have this religious beliefs, but mostly it's in name only. Like on the $100 bill, what does it say? In God we don't trust. So very few will actually follow proper religious principles. And that would mean the Vedic scriptures. So the Vedas, they have quite a high standard. Prabhupada has actually said that if you're not following the four regulative principles, what to speak of religious, you're not actually a human being. Pretty high standard. But this is what we follow. We follow these principles from the Vedic culture: Brahman, Satya, Vaishya, Sudra. And even Sudras are included in the Vedic culture, and they are permitted to take meat, but it's under restriction. It's not just, it's controlled, and they take some type of wine. I think it's rice wine or something, or other types of wine also. But the Vaishyas and the Kshatriyas and the Brahmins, of course, abstain. They keep back. So, more living entities than there are particles of dust, particles of sand, particles of water in the ocean. So some or other, we've accepted the human form of life, and we are practicing, all of us. Some may not be so serious, some slightly more serious. Some of us are initiated. Some of us are chanting just a few rounds. Some of us are more strictly following the principles. So this is very wonderful. This is very good. So we should see it in perspective, that it's quite rare to become the devotee of the Lord. Manusyanam sahasrasyu, out of thousands. So I was thinking about it. Possibly we could say there's maybe 6,000 people following principles in the whole of South Africa. Would you agree with that? Well, that's being a little optimistic. 6,000? Maybe a little less, I don't know. But 6,000 compared to the population. So what is the population of human beings in South Africa? You are all South Africans, bona fide. So you must know the population, no doubt. So I don't need to tell you. 60 million. So 6,000, 60 million. What is that? Mathematicians, do the maths. 1 in a deafening roar. Everyone is answering. 1 in 10,000. That's how rare it is. 1 in 10,000. Yeah. And we're talking about Kanishta Bhaktas. We're not talking about the more advanced Madhyam. The Kanishta Bhakta will come to the temple, bow down. So I think 6,000, yes, maybe more. So it's very rare. Amuktinam api siddhanam narayana prayana maha. In the Bhagavatam it's mentioned also out of millions. Muktiyanam. One may be the devotee. Kotish. Koti means 10 million actually. Out of 10 million. One may be the devotee. It's very rare. So we should appreciate what good fortune we have, given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, given to us by Prabhupada. He's the one who came out of India and brought this message. So we should always appreciate our good fortune. This word appreciation, it's important. We tend to get over-familiar with the holy name. Even sometimes we chant the holy name a little begrudgingly, or we're not so respectful, perhaps. Sometimes we see this with Mahaprasad. Someone offers us Mahaprasad, beans curry Mahaprasad, and we don't like beans, so we don't take it. But it's Mahaprasad. We should take it, even if it's a little old, even if it's a little stale. If there's possibly some health issue, then at least we should touch it to the head. Touch it to the head. But we become so complacent, we may even refuse. So always appreciate what Prabhupada has given us. We should appreciate the holy name. We have this. We possess faith in the holy name. We're not paying you to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
If we were paying you, you'd be quite wealthy. You could actually retire. But the price for the holy name is your faith, Shraddha. Devotional service, it means it's your own choice. You've come here Sunday night. You didn't have to. Tomorrow's Ekadashi. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to chant Krishna's holy name. There's no special CCTV where filming you in your bedroom or in your house. There's no, in Iran, they have this morality police. You know about that one? Apparently the ladies have to wear these scarves. So if you don't, the morality police bother you. So we don't have that in our culture. It's purely your own choice. You are choosing. We have a little bit of independence. So you're using your independence in the right way. You don't have big-time independence. You have small-time independence. Like you came here tonight. But you could have gone instead to Gateway or Pavilion or Florida Road. Yeah, you see, I know. Or, if you're inclined, Blue Lagoon. I've done my homework. The Indian people still go there. And I went there about 10 years ago in a police car. Yes, Jatipo took me. A police car. I just wanted to see how the other side live. So you've decided not to do that. Instead, you've come here celebrating, worshipping Radharani, taking prasad, chanting the holy name. So this is the correct use of your independence. But as I mentioned, you have small independence. The example, let's say you're flying on an aircraft, and you're sitting in your economy seat. Now, there's not too much you can do. You can watch a movie, you can fall asleep, or you can chant, you can bother the person in the next seat. But you can't go for a run. You can't go for a swim. No? It's restricted. You're on an aircraft. So we also have a little bit of independence. And if we use it to become Krishna conscious, and this is perfection. And not only do we become perfect, but even our present family members can be benefited tremendously. Even the family members in our last lives. You were living in a family in your last life, you can't remember. You had parents. We would presume you were human beings because you're human beings now. So it could be that you went from animal to human being, but let's take, for example, you were a human being. So you had father and mother. You probably had children in your last life. So they become benefited. Then in this lifetime, you have parents, you have grandparents, you have great-great-grandparents. They're also benefited simply based on your devotion, on the strength of your devotion. And the more advanced you become, the more you can benefit these family members. So Krishna consciousness is really the most auspicious thing we can attempt to do. And we should carry on with enthusiasm and determination. To achieve anything, you need some enthusiasm. Anything. And enthusiasm, determination is very similar. If you want to win the gold medal running or something, you have to train. You have to really train. So you've got to be somewhat enthusiastic. So in spiritual life, we also apply that same principle. Utsahan, enthusiasm. It's required. So how do we get enthusiasm? We associate with those who are enthusiastic, and it rubs off on us. So if we can associate with those devotees who are more enthusiastic than we are, then that's good. That's a win-win. This is why sadhu sangha, or to associate with devotees, is so important. And this, of course, is why Prabhupada created ISKCON, with centers all over the world. I think we have over 600 centers. So this is so people can come and hear the holy name and become enthusiastic in their spiritual life. So Rupa Goswami, in Nectar of Instruction, text number 8, let me read it. We may, there's many instructions, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, but Rupa Goswami is, in this verse, summarized the essence of all advice. And he uses the word sa, S-A-R-A. Sa means the essence. Just like the essence of milk is cream. Sa, S-A-R-A. So, text 8. Kanama rupa chiratadi sukkitenu smrcha kramena rasana manasani oja. Tistam braj tadanugami jananugami kalam nayada kilam itcha upadesa saram. Word sara, essence. English. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braj, brackets, Goloka Vrindavan, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So, as I mentioned, there are many instructions. For instance, Bhagavad Gita, Savadhamam Parityajya. It's more general, just surrender to me. But here, Rupa Goswami is stressing the essence of all instructions. And the essence of all instructions is to absorb the mind in thinking of the Lord's pastimes. So we have information of the Lord's pastimes. It may be Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. It may be Lord Ramchandra in Ayodhya. The 9th canto of the Bhagavatam deals with Lord Ram. It may be Lord Nrsimhadev, and we know a lot about this. Prahlad Maharaj, Nrsimhadev. The pastime of protecting Prahlad. It may be the Lord's pastimes for you may be Lord Krishna in Dwarka. When Lord Krishna is in Dwarka, he has 4 hands. There's only a few associates who see him with 2 hands. Mostly they see him with 4 hands. And there's no peacock feather. And there's no flute. Minus flute. So the Lord's pastimes, you may gravitate or you may be inclined to think of Krishna himself in Vrindavan. So thinking of Krishna in Vrindavan and the Lord's associates. So which associates? Nija Samahitam. Your choice. The ball is in your court. You decide. So you may think of cowhead boys. You may like that idea of playing with Krishna. Guli danda. Leapfrog. Swimming. I know devotees who go down to the sea, especially on Christmas Day. They go in the water a little bit, just up to the ankle. Not too far, because they're Indians. And E. coli and all this stuff. So Krishna plays in the water with the cowherd boys. So many games he plays. Our modern day cricket has come from Krishna. Tennis has come from Krishna's pastimes. Football. So you may think of Krishna with cowherd boys. And you may think of Pacific cowherd boy, Madhu Mango. He likes ladus. Do we have devotees here who like ladus? Yeah, ladus. Subal. So many. Then one may be more attracted towards thinking of Krishna with Mother Yasoda. And this especially is enhanced in the month of Kartik. We have that wonderful picture of Mother Yasoda. So this is Vatsalya Ras. It's only in Vaishnava philosophy that there is this conception that you can be the parent of God. In no other religion is this even hinted at. Not the parent of God. In other religions, God is the order supplier. Give me this, give me that. Usually their conception, usually they don't have any conception, but if you push them, sometimes it will be, he's been around a long time, so he's an old person. He's old, which means a few wrinkles. And because he's old, he has white hair. And he has a beard. He has a beard. And he's sitting on his throne, and he's looking at you all. And sometimes they say God becomes angry, like they say a vengeful God, an angry God. They're material conceptions. So, Vatsalya Ras, Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj. Who else? Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Kiritida, Purnamasi. Who else? Mukara. Actually, there's billions and billions, but we only know a few names. And even that, when it's presented so we can digest it. For example, Mother Yasoda's body, it's bluish. Rupa Goswami clearly says it's bluish. So now when we have the pictures of Mother Yasoda, what color is it? It's golden. Now why is that? Oh, intelligent pandits, panditinis, Brahmins, Brahmaninis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. Can you tell me why? Why did Prabhupada encourage us, and even previous acharyas, put Mother Yasoda, when they paint picture, or we have the deity, and she's goldenish? Can you give me an answer? Smita? Huh? Oh, Ram Vijay must know. Well, if you have two people and they're both blue, are they both God? Or is just one God? Confusion. Immediately confusion. So in order not to confuse people, because we know Krishna is blue, then Mother Yasoda is not blue, but she is blue. That's the point. So the acharyas, Prabhupada and the previous Bhaktisiddhanta Bhaktivinoda, they presented it so that we can digest it. Definitely meditating on the associates of the Lord is the medicine. But sometimes you can have a disease, and we all have a disease. We identify with this body. And you take medicine, but it's too powerful. You know this. The medicine actually is too powerful. And then the medicine is worse than the malice. Many people actually in North America, over 600, they die every day from hospital mistakes. They call it hospital errors. And one of them is to give the wrong medicine, but one of them is to give the right medicine, but the wrong dose. So you can die if the dose is too much. I was taking one medicine prescribed by an Ayurvedic doctor, Brihat Chintamani, very powerful medicine, and I was taking it and I got boils. So I never got boils before in my life. Now, you know, boils are quite painful. They're not very nice. And so for 6 months, I had these boils. One would go away and then another would come, and very painful. So I went to the Vaidya, this is the Kaviraj, the doctor, and he prescribed it to me. And I said, do you think it's this medicine, Brihat Vita Chintamani? Brihat Vita Chintamani? Is it this medicine? And he said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I actually carried on taking it. And then I went to another Vaidya. He was a professor in Udupi. And he said, it's the medicine. Because Brihat Vita Chintamani has arsenic in it. But if the arsenic is too much, it's poison. And that's what was happening in my body. I was getting boils. So he said that particular batch, you know, like that batch had too much arsenic. Somewhere or other it wasn't processed properly. So I stopped taking the medicine and the boils went away. So the acharyas are giving us Krishna consciousness in the right dosage. And Prabhupada, of course, is doing this because of our Western or materialistic culture. And he's presenting it in a particular type of way. Angels dare to tread where fools rush in, or fools rush in, where angels dare to tread. So step by step, one goes forward. So anyhow, Rupa Goswami is saying here, you think of the Lord's pastimes. And then Tistam Braja, it means to live in Vrindavan. So Jiva Goswami has explained further, to live in Vrindavan, it doesn't necessarily mean that you physically go and live there, but within the mind. But if the mind is always dwelling and thinking of Vrindavan, then the body will automatically follow at some point or other. So at some point or other, you will go and visit. Maybe just for a few weeks, because you have a job, you have family. But you may spend some time there, and this is good. Mm-hmm. So, Tistam Braja, within the mind. I give an example. You smell pizza. You know about this, pizza. And then you start thinking in your mind, pizza, 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 pizza. So that goes on for a while, right? And then in your mind, you go through all the activities. All right, I pick up the phone, I order the pizza, I pay for it, they'll come in 20 minutes, and then I have it hot. So you've actually done it already, but it's all up here. And then you do it. They say thinking, feeling, willing. But actually, it's feeling, thinking, willing. First you feel hungry, I'm hungry, and then you think it more and more, and then it becomes an action. You do something about it. You go to the fridge, order the pizza. So Tistam Braja, this is actually our ultimate goal. To live in Vrindavan. Navadvip is considered non-different. Gupta, hidden. And there we follow in the footsteps of the associates of Krishna. So there's two types of associates, prakat and aprakat. So prakat means manifest in front of you. You can talk to them. They're in front of you. And aprakat would mean that they're in the spiritual world. So this would be Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda, the Cowherd boys, Mother Yasoda, the gopis. They're all in their aprakat feature. So you follow in the footsteps of prakat or aprakat. But ultimately, it's aprakat. But you may not be so qualified to do that. So it has to be more practical. So that's prakat. So that prakat person is Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru. It's someone in front of you. It's someone you can talk to or you can hear or can answer your questions. You see? So one follows in the footsteps of residents of Vrindavan. Tistam Braja Tadanuragi Jananugami, with great attachment. So this word is rag, R-A-G-A. It means great attachment. This we can also learn from the materialists, because the materialists are also very attached. They're very attached to the husband, they're very attached to the wife, especially the children. The children probably come in more than the wife or husband. Is that correct? Ladies? The children usually come in higher, generally, than the husband. So this attachment, especially to living animate objects. Inanimate objects means you're attached to your house. And there are people overly attached to their house. Prabhupada gave that example. The man, he's in India. That's right, he's dying. So they come with some helicopter to pick him up. And then as the helicopter takes off, could have been a plane. He instructs, just circle my house in the air so I can see it again and again. And then as he's circling, he dies. Then he gave another example. Prabhupada said a man, he owned a paper mill. And Prabhupada said he will have taken birth as a rat within the paper mill. So people become very attached. On another very nice example, some or other, this is recorded, I think it was New Zealand, but it might have been Australia, and Prabhupada was walking in the courtyard of the house, and there was a tree, and it's popularly believed that Prabhupada said, the owner of that house has taken birth as the tree. And then many times, Prabhupada quoted an astrologist. Now he quoted the astrologist. So it doesn't necessarily mean he believed it, but he quoted the astrologist saying, a recent president of India, Prime Minister of India, has taken birth in Scandinavia as a dog. He said, according to an astrologist. Prabhupada said that a few times. So attachment, it's very strong. Animate, inanimate. Inanimate, house, car. Can you not say that men are attached to their cars? Ladies. Isn't it? Sunday morning, they do puja to the car, and they wash it very carefully or drive it to the garage. When I come out of Hillcrest, my house, there's a garage. There's always a queue of cars, correct? And it's always men. And it's usually a Sunday morning or something, cleaning the car, religiously cleaning the car. So men are very attached to their cars, and ladies are very attached to what? Men. What? Handbags. Handbags. It's got to be a Gucci. What else? Shoes. Shoes. So we're all attached. Inanimate objects, but then higher than that is animate human beings. Attached to our dogs, cats. In America, they spend over $100 billion a year on pets. It's over $100 billion. If we just had that $1 billion, we could build the TOVP. We could do so much here in Phoenix, in Chatsworth, phase 3, phase 4. $100 billion. It's over that, actually. Like 105, 110 billion now. That's dollars. How many rands to a dollar? And of those pets, what do you think it's mostly? Dogs. Then would come the cats and horses, and then more exotic animals, like crocodiles, so forth. So we become attached. Very attached, especially to the children, the parents. So one has to transfer what we can learn when we look at the materialists. We can see how attached they are, and if we were that attached to Lord Krishna and the cowherd boys and the gopis and Lord Chaitanya's eternal associates like Shivananda Sain and Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, we would actually be extremely advanced. We'd be on the level of our Shakti. Very, very advanced. So in that way we can learn from the materialists. You don't give up attachment. You just transfer it to the holy name, Krishna, Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Vrindavan. you transfer it to Vrindavan, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri. These are the three main places for Vaishnavas. So we should visit there and go to these different places of pastimes. In these places of pastimes, there's dust. That dust is very powerful. You put it on your head, you put it in your mouth. It has an effect on you. It's very powerful. So we should do this and go forward with determination and enthusiasm in our Krishna consciousness. Tistam brajad tadanuragi jananugami. Following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gau Premanandi. Any questions? Comments? Yes, yes. Microphone.
Thank you so much, Srila Gurudev. Guru Maharaj, you were speaking about how the process of willing starts with feeling, so feeling, thinking, then willing. And I'm just wondering, once we start making a bit of progress in Krishna consciousness and we think more about Krishna, then is it that the feeling becomes purified and it's the same process of feeling, thinking and willing, but on the basis of Krishna consciousness?
You understand the question? Bhakti is an affair of the heart. It's all about feeling. It's all about emotion and feeling, but not material emotion, not material feelings. So that at the neophyte stage, or at the stage sort of we're on, low, somewhat lower, is mixed with intelligence. It's mixed with intelligence. In other words, you know you have to offer your obeisances with your intelligence. You know that. You know with your intelligence, Ekadashi, all right, I'm going to fast. So there's a degree of intelligence also there. As you become superlative, far superior, or much more advanced, the emotional side, but it's spiritual now, you got to remember, it's spiritual. That overpowers. That overpowers. So the residents of Vrindavan, Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill 7 days. And some of the elderly cowhead men, they came to Nanda Maharaj. And they said, Nanda Maharaj, we've heard from Gagamuni, Gaga Rishi, that your son, he's like Narayan. And he could even be Narayan. And we think the way you're treating him is not so proper. You're a little familiar with him and you treat him like young bacha, young baby, and even Mother Yasoda chased after him. And we're thinking, maybe this is not so appropriate. And Nanda Maharaj said, yes, I agree with what you say, but he's still my son, and I have to correct him, and that is my duty. So that mood of Nanda Maharaj is called Madhuya. Madhuya means sweetness. It also means conjugal love, but it also means sweetness, madhu, honey. So Madhuya means sweetness, the sweetness of a relationship with Krishna. Seeing him as your friend, seeing him as your child, or seeing him as your lover. So this is the Madhurya. This is what's going on in Vrindavan. But in Vaikuntha, it's Aishvarya. It's the devotees stand together with their hands put together like this, and they're looking at Lord Narayan's feet. And it's very awe and respect. It's awe and reverence. Even above Dwaka, Ayodhya, above Ayodhya, Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, then Dwaka. So Dwaka, Krishna's son, is called Pradyumna. So when Pradyumna comes before his father, Dwakadish, that's the Lord, that's Krishna in Dwaka, he very carefully puts his hands together. He stands very respectfully. He looks at the feet of his father. Generally, he doesn't look higher than that. He doesn't cough. This is all in Rupa Goswami's books. He doesn't cough. He doesn't do anything sudden like this. He's very peaceful. He's very respectful. And he never mentions anything about Dwakadish's relationship with Rukmini and the wives. Never ever says anything like that. Will only speak when he's spoken to. Otherwise doesn't speak. Now this is reverence. And it's accepted. And it's a goal for many devotees. And this is what they want. But in contrast to Vrindavan, where the cowherd boys run up to Krishna in the morning, they go to Nandagram. And then Krishna's getting out of bed, and the cowherd boys run up to him, and they crack jokes, and they start poking him with the flute. And they say, the cows are waiting, let's go, let's go. And then they climb on his back. Are you going to climb on God's back? But the cowherd boys do. And then even some of the cowherd boys challenge Krishna. Hey, you think you're a big deal? Just because you come from Chatsworth? Just because you come from Phoenix? You think you're a big deal? What about me? And they challenge Krishna to a fight. And Sridharma, he tightens his belt. And he goes, like in those kung fu. You know that kung fu thing, they go like this, and they go. It's so stupid, isn't it? As if they're waving to themselves or something. So, Sridharma has fight. And sometimes Sridharma and the other cowherd boys defeat Krishna, and Krishna enjoys it. He likes it. So it's real friends. It's not this reverential thing. So that's only in Vrindavan. It's exclusive to Vrindavan. It's not in Vaikuntha. It's not in Ayodhya. You have the stories and conceptions of Hanuman. How does Hanuman relate to Ramchandra? Respectfully. He's always sitting down and very respectful. This is Dasyaras. And Hanuman's mood towards Ram is completely bona fide. It's accepted. And there are even great devotees who follow in those footsteps, like Murari Gupta, Anupam. But Rupa Goswami is particularly stressing Vrindavan. And from the spiritual point of view, it is actually superior. Although also from the spiritual point of view, it's all equal. I don't know if you can understand that. It's all equal. In other words, Murari Gupta, Hanuman appeared as Murari Gupta. So Hanuman is completely satisfied in his relationship of Dasyaras with Ramchandra. And if you offer him, wouldn't you like to be a cowherd boy? Wouldn't you like to be a gopi? How will he respond? Absolutely no. Because his constitutional position is an Ayodhya as a servant. So we all have our constitutional positions. And for us, that is the best. That is the highest. But when you step back and you start to analyze it, as Rupa Goswami has in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu and his other books, you become tatastha, neutral. And then you start comparing. And you can say higher and lower. But from the spiritual point of view, it's actually all equal. We can't say that the gopis dancing in Rasa Leela are giving Krishna more pleasure than the cows. You can't say that, and yet you can say it also. So we should try to understand these things gradually. We're not going to understand immediately, but through chanting the Lord's holy name, these realizations can come. Tadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna's Chaitya Guru, I can reveal these things gradually. And if we try to rush and we try to force it, then this is Sajiya Bhav. It has to come naturally, and the word is Svabhaviki. Svabhaviki means naturally. You tell a 5-year-old child, a small boy, do you like this girl? She's 4.5. And he won't know what you're talking about. Now you can't force it. You can't say, no, you've got to like this girl. It just, there's nothing there. But when he's 15, you don't have to say anything. Am I correct? You don't have to say anything. His eyes immediately, 15, 16, 17, immediately. And the girl towards the boy. Right? Probably more the girl to the boy. Because emotionally they develop earlier. So Svabhaviki means natural. And if you force it unnaturally, then this means it's tainted with what we would call Sahajiya Bhav. So one has to be a little careful and balance these things. And the best way you do this is by taking advice from more advanced devotees who may be able to guide you accordingly. Any other questions or comments or realizations? Anything else you'd like to say? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. God tells.